Welcome to another edition of Treasure Tuesdays. If you are inspired to unlock your voice and speak your truth and lead from the heart, then keep watching. This video is for you, my friend. Many of us have no clue who we are. We don't even know what we need in the first place because we are or have been conditioned to please other people. I can tell you right now that I have certainly been and have most of my life led with people pleasing. It's one of my many facets, but certainly one I used to lead with because it was what was most comfortable and safe. If you have been taught to please others, particularly in your childhood, which most of us have been, then it's likely that you don't even know what your truth is. It's likely that you don't even know what you need because you're so programmed to look for what other people need. The first step to speaking your truth is knowing yourself and knowing what you need. When you know yourself, you take dominion over your life. Your heart leads. You are the authority. You are literally the author writing the story of your life. And going from letting life out there, being a victim of circumstances, letting people out there kind of tell you what's right and what's wrong, to coming deep into solitude, into quiet, into presence, or really just coming into the moment, into the breath, into the body, becoming very aware of the mind and the patterns and the thoughts and the fears and the beliefs without judgment or trying to change it, just aware. When we come into this state of presence, and the easiest way to do this is to come into solitude daily, have some time in meditation away from other people, you start to discover yourself and what your values are. So I can tell you personally, what I discovered were my values. My mind had been telling me that my values were to live this huge, gorgeous, glamorous life. When I tapped into my heart, during that time in the Redwoods, I discovered that my wealth was actually found in simplicity. It was actually in the spaciousness of nature, of quiet, of watching the leaves on the tree. That time is my greatest currency, having just this essence of elegance in simplicity. And I began to unfurl all the knots and discover that my values are not necessarily what my family's values are, or what my community growing up's values are. They're all about where I grew up, like the big houses and the big cars and everything's supersized and lots of veneer, I'll say. And for me, it was like just breaking out of all that and actually coming back to the basics, coming back to nature, coming back to living foods, drinking lots of water, dancing, being creative. So these are just a few of my values. Also, authentic community versus false, fake, codependent community based on conditions rather than presence. And I started to just really tap into who I am as a soul, super powerful. So in that, you begin to discover in this first key, in prioritizing not only presence and solitude, but also beginning to introspect, beginning to contemplate and discover and really turn over all the different belief systems that have been running you. Notice why you do things, what moves you, why do you call that person, why did you write that letter, why did you say that thing, what are the intentions behind every little thing that you do. And discover, you'll start to discover, it's because I want to please that person, or I want to fit in. Or you'll discover, it's just what my heart wants. That's what my truth is. So the way to begin discovering what your values are, I'm aware this is going to be a longer video, but it's an important one. So here we go. So this discovering of your values is really important to start to map who you are and what your values are. You know what your values are when you will do anything for that particular value. Nobody has to inspire you to do it. No one has to talk you into it. You just do it. For me personally, nobody has to convince me to go into the meditation room in the morning, meditate and sing my mantras and hymns. Nobody has to pull me in there. It's where I thrive. It's where I plug in. It is my value it's like meditation and introspection, and my sadhana, my spiritual practice is just one of my core values. So spiritual liberation, one of my core values. So you know your core values when nobody has to convince you or talk you into it. It's just you naturally go there. So it's really important to know what your values are, who you are, what your needs are. Okay? So for me, my needs are to live in a certain place, to have a certain community, to have certain foods accessible to me, to have a platform to give back, which is a huge value for me, to share, to give back, to pay it forward, everything that I have learned and everything that I have, to share it. Okay? So that's the first one. Know yourself, know your values, and know what you need. Okay? This is about really unwinding from the people-pleasing and coming back home to yourself and discovering what you need rather than what others expect you to do and be in the world. Who are you? That's number one. Who are you? The second piece, to unlocking your voice. Okay? Now that you know yourself and you're discovering who you are, and this is an ongoing process, by the way, discovering your values, because they're going to, as you grow, your values are going to open up and blossom and shift and recalibrate with who you're becoming. Okay? So the second piece is, in order to free your authentic voice and speak your truth in the world, is to sing. Yes, I did say sing. So I don't care how bad you think your voice is. If you want to speak your truth in the world, it's essential to start getting really comfortable using this muscle beyond logic. A lot of the times we're speaking from a thought. When we sing, we're using another part of the brain that is creative. It's spontaneous. It's connected to the heart, connected to our souls. Spontaneous expression comes through, okay? When we're constantly using our throat, our voice, from a place of control, the ego-mind mechanism, which is all about that societal hallucination and fitting in and people-pleasing, and or it's rebelling against it, which is just the flip side of people-pleasing. It's like as soon as we start using our voices to play and to let our hearts use this beautiful tool called our voices, you will start to discover that your authentic voice comes through without a thought. I have no clue what I'm going to say next. It just comes through. I don't script my videos. It just comes through. Sometimes I write down a few keys, but I have no idea what's going to be expressed. Now, if I were in my mind, I would be editing myself before I even have a chance to say what I'm going to say. So then the truth, my heart, would never have space to speak in the world, which is such a sad thing to me. You know, I just want to see more people out there speaking from their heart. So singing is the second key. And we're going to practice right now something. If you don't consider yourself a singer, it has nothing to do with sounding good. And actually, the more willing you are to let yourself sound like crap and just let your voice out in sacred space where no one's going to judge you, where you can really drop out of your mind and come into your voice, because your voice has a frequency that's designed to heal you and likely others. Your voice has a frequency that is designed to heal you, okay? We have everything we need within this amazing mechanism of our bodies to regenerate and heal. And our voices are a very, very powerful conduit of healing. So one of the practices that I do in the morning as I meditate is I sing mantras, I sing hymns. In addition to the hymns that are already pre-written, what I do is I just make sounds. There are times that I'm growling. There are times that I am singing like a freaking opera singer. And there are times that I'm like, whoa, whoa, like rapping and making all these beat. I can actually, I want to go there right now, but I'm not going to. Okay. You catch my drift though. Just let your voice out. Sing, hum. And one of the most powerful practices, if all this feels a little too messy and not structured enough, one of the most powerful practices to employ the second key, which is to sing, is to use the seed mantra, okay, of the throat chakra. Okay, so the seed mantras are very powerful. You can think of them as planting seeds in the ground, and each one has a unique purpose. So it's like if you plant a seed of a rose plant into the ground, a rose plant is going to bloom. Well, if you sing or hum the seed sound of the throat chakra, your throat chakra is going to open. It's going to recalibrate. It's going to purify, and it's going to power up. Okay? So the seed sound of the throat chakra is hum. 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 Okay? H-A-M, hum. It's Sanskrit. It sounds like hum, like H-U-M, very similar, and so it's easy to remember. So let's do 3 together, okay? And notice, if you close your eyes, take a deep breath, notice how it feels. Inhaling in. Inhaling. One more. Inhale. Staying with your breath. Noticing what sensations are present in your body and in your throat. And if there's any stuck energy, rather than fighting it, opening up to it and letting it expand. Do the opposite of resistance. Welcome it. And if you notice yourself fighting what you're feeling in your throat or any blocks, if there are any present, just recognize it's the ego. The heart welcomes everything. The heart is infinite. One more deep breath before opening your eyes. So you can bring that practice in and just start playing with sound and start discovering how that feels in your body. Okay? And the third element of freeing your voice and speaking your authentic truth in the world, speaking authentically in the world, is to ask for help. I am currently in the midst of this one hugely, okay? And most of us on this path, especially those of us who tend to be kind-hearted and good and want to make a difference in the world and choose to make a difference in the world, it can be really easy to give, yet difficult to receive, okay? Because there's so many stigmas in our society around receiving. Like if you're a good person, you should only give, you should be a martyr. But the reality is, unless you're receiving and unless you're asking for help directly, then scarcity is inevitable. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Unless you're asking for help and receiving while giving in the world, scarcity is inevitable. It is essential, if you choose to lead your life from the overflow and live an authentic life and a thriving life, to speak and ask for what you need, okay? So you guys have heard me say this before. Leonard Jacobson taught me this, super powerful. True power is asking for what you need, clearly and lovingly, free of attachment, okay? True power is asking for what you need, clearly and lovingly, free of attachment. So it doesn't matter how if the person says yes or no, you have asked clearly and lovingly, you're already awakening true power within you, okay? It's all that matters. Now, asking for help is essential because there's so many times that we all need help. But when you have learned to please others, then that part of you, which we all have needs. We all need to receive. It's this give and take of life. But when we banish those needs because we learn that our job and our duty is to please others and take care of others and put others first and, really let the world out there dictate how we should be, we disconnect from the fact that we are infinite beings. It's like the ocean will come out and then the tide comes back in, and then the ocean goes out and the tide comes back in. It's like the inhale and the outhale of the breath, okay? Inhale and exhale of the breath. If we are not asking for help, how can we expect to give it? And if you are watching this video, it is very likely that you are a leader of love in some way in your life, okay? So I am challenging myself, and I'm challenging you to step up your ability to ask for help, okay? Personally, I'm going to give you this treasure tool right here, right now, that I'm doing. I'm on day 7, and it is radically transforming my life. Okay, it's called 22-day ass-kicking, ask for help process. I'm asking for help every day for 22 days, okay? And little things like asking for a bag at the grocery store, okay? I noticed that for me, for example, I would say, oh, I forgot my bag, and I would wait for the teller at the grocery store to say, oh, do you need a bag? And then I would say, oh, why, yes, I do. Instead of being crystal clear, asking clearly and lovingly. Remember, true power, asking for what you need clearly and lovingly. So I have been employing that in the little ways, and then also making major breakthroughs. So at the market now, it was so uncomfortable, something as simple as this, to change my language, to be clear. And I, have now changed my language to ask, can I have a bag, please? Wow. That was utterly uncomfortable the first day. And to ask, so every day I'm doing things like the other day I was in a rush and I either needed to put the stuff down that I was purchasing or, be late, even more late than I already was. But then I realized, wait a minute, I can ask the woman in front of me if I could get in front of her in the line. And everything in me said, who are you to go first? Why should you get in front of her? You're, all of this silliness. And I broke out of that, and I basically just looked at her and I said, hey, I'm in a rush right now. Can I? And as soon as I was about to say, can I get in front of you? She said, oh, please come in. Her whole energy totally, her frequency changed completely. She was sitting there in line with her head down. As soon as I engaged with her, asked her to come in front of her, she was like, poof. And then we started laughing about the rat race, and literally I saw her frequency shift by me asking for help. We both were illuminated a little brighter. It feels great to help. I love giving. We all love to give. It is just part of our nature. When we don't ask for help, we're literally robbing other people of helping and raising their frequencies and having fun. And we're also robbing them the opportunity of saying no if they don't want to. True power is about being authentic. Let people ask, and you just have the power of saying yes or no without any guilt, without any story. It's just when we lead our lives authentically, there's no more room to bullshit. Pardon my language. I'm sorry if that offended you, but there's no more room for the BS, for the belief systems, for the BS that has kept us from asking for help. So personally, I really encourage this 22-day process. I make it fun, and I use these colorful pencils, these acrylic pencils, and I use these huge sheets, and I map out 22 days, and I, whatever my process is, I just track it. That's how we can remember and track it and write down and document what's happening, document the growth. Because I promise you, if you do this, you're going to come up against your own rubble, up against your own beliefs, up against the very things that have limited you and kept you from not speaking up. Personally, on day 3, I sent an email to family and friends asking very directly for help with my book. And part of that help had to do with finances, had to do with donations. I had a whole mix of, I've never in my life asked for donations, ever. I've given to countless crowdfunding campaigns for people I love and care about and extract value from, countless, without a thought, with so much joy in my heart. And me asking, never even thought about it. So long story short, I sent this email. I was very honest, very vulnerable, and shared it. And it felt terrifying, you guys, terrifying. the responses that I get, and at the same time very empowering and very liberating. But if we want to break free, we're going to come up against our own comfort zone, and everything we want, as we've all heard, is outside of the comfort zone. And I received such a varying degree of responses. It was amazing to discover that other people's beliefs about you, and when you choose to step up your game and start asking for help, people are going to love you for it. They're going to judge the crap out of you for it, or they're just not even going to think twice about it. Okay? And that's exactly what I've been experiencing. Amazing support. Okay? And I dedicate this moment to Jonathan. If you're watching this, I love you dearly, my friend. And to Nushin, I love you dearly. Shirley, Jeannie, Astrid, to name a few. My sister, really just beautiful, beautiful support in whether it was financial or just words and love of support, really powerful words. And then on the flip side, I was met with somebody I love dearly who wrote me a note saying that this person was extraordinarily ashamed of me for sending that note. It totally, I mean, it was the most intense email I've ever gotten from somebody who is so important to me. And it was the greatest gift this person could have given me, because I was looking at a reflection, this person, of the beliefs I have had about asking for help that kept me from asking for help my whole life. Okay? The belief is that I should be ashamed of myself for asking for support, for help, that I have to do everything myself, and if I don't earn it all myself, and if I don't do it and all myself, then I'm a failure. Literally, I was staring this belief in a person. So it's like everything outside of us is simply a reflection of what's going on inside. So of course I work the diamond process, which is the very book that I'm publishing, which is the very book that I was asking for support on. And I'll be so bold here and say, if you have extracted, something valuable from what I share with you and everything I give away, I invite you and I ask you for your help. Please, only if it feels good to you, please, I'll put a donation link below. Why not? Why not? Because maybe you do want to help. Maybe that'll feel really good for you. I can tell you that until we ask for help, we, number one, will never receive it. And number two, we're really living in an egoic pattern, thinking that it's all about me, 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 and I can do it all myself, when really there's just one life. And the work that we bring into the world, everything that we do in the world requires many different hands. And to think that I am an island and that I can do it all myself is a very, very small way of thinking. It's very limited, and it will never allow me to give at the level that I'm here to give. So I share this with you to prepare you that if you do the 22-day process, it is very likely that if you do it with gusto, you're going to be met with friction. After I worked the diamond process, I became so free. It took me a couple days of processing, literally, and also turning it over to Source, which is definitely a big one. The greatest level of asking for help is to ask for Spirit, ask for God, ask for the loving intelligence, not necessarily to help with stuff, with manifesting things, but to fill your heart, to change the way you look at things, to fill your heart with the presence, to empower you, to take over your life. That is the greatest prayer you can ask for. And I've been doing that, and it's like the little me who thinks that, I can do it all myself and that I even know what's best or that I even know anything at all, has just been falling away as I've been moved and really free, like so free. And I'm just on day 7 of this process. If you've made it this far, then you are ready to free your voice. You're ready to give back. You're ready to share from the overflow. You're ready to get rid of that habit of depletion, if that's something that you're going through. And I'm going to re-encapsulate the 3 keys to freeing your voice and speaking your truth in the world from the heart. Number 1, to know yourself and know your values, and just spend time in solitude or invest time in solitude, okay? And start tracking what your values are, what you love, what's important to you, what's true for you. Start tracking those. What are the things that drive you? What are the things you love? And you know because it feels good and it enlivens you. Second thing, sing. Every single day, whether it's just doing the hum, or it might sound like home or hum, or that was loud. Just whatever your body feels. Let your body express with sound, free of thinking, okay? Let your body start to take over. Let your heart start to take over your vocal cords and see what comes out, okay? The third is to ask for help. Every single day of your life, get as good as you are at giving, at asking for help and letting go of attachment to whether somebody gives it to you or not. I love every single person the same in regards to how they responded to that letter I sent out asking for help. They all responded differently, and what they think of me is none of my business. My business is me. Literally, what they think has everything to do with their life circumstances and their mental programming from their childhoods and their life. None of that stuff is true. We all have our unique perspectives based on experience. The only truth is silent. Okay, so really everything I say is not true. It's just a perspective. Anything somebody else says, if it conflicts and contrasts, that's not true either. The only truth there is silence. Presence. What is. Okay, there's no right or wrong. The ultimate truth cannot be articulated. What I'm talking about here is your unique truth and being free in the world and expressing from that freedom. May you know that you are so worthy of receiving, of speaking your truth, of living freely, and of being so liberated that how other people perceive you is totally and utterly irrelevant. Thank you so much for this amazing journey that we have been on. If you've just found my videos or you've been with me for years, I send a lot of light to your path.